Greetings YouTube. Today we're looking at a Gerber knife, and this is the Skyridge, though I'm not really sure why they call it that. Smooth and fast opening pocket clip folding knife. Blurb on the back. There we go. Blade material 7 CR17 MOV, stainless steel, handle material glass filled in nylon, which is fairly common in Gerber knives. Oh, and that rattle you hear is in fact, it's this thing right here. It's a chip card that came with the knife. So here's the knife itself. I liked the shape, and I'm going to show you this, the whole overall reason I like the shape. But I like the shape in general. I like these cutouts, and there's some blue anodizing in there. There you go. Which I think gives a nice prop. Maybe that's why they're calling it a Skyridge, because of the blue. Who knows? But I mean, sky, yeah. Ridge. I'm not getting ridge in this design. It is a single position tip up carry, which is the position I like a blade to be in, tip up. But I think a single position clip in the modern era is absurd. And if you had a slightly closed system, you could have put the clip in here the way Kershaw does it in a lot of the models, and it's just so much more elegant. They may have that patented though, so I'm not positive. Now this has an interesting couple of features. One, that's the lock right there. That's how you unlock it. But it actually has a lock. So you push up on this, hear that click. The blade will now not open. So you can push it down, and now it will open. And the thing is, you have to open this with your thumb. There's no flipper on this. And there you go. And that's the reason I liked it, because it really made me think of a Scottish skindoo. I saw this, I'm like, that really does look like one. That's kind of cool. So you have a flat here, and you have a hollow grind, and I liked the overall shape of this grind. It kind of gives it, to me, a very leading look, and it's a pure design thing. It has nothing to do with the function, but it almost kind of makes it look like it's moving forward, and I kind of like that. A secondary bevel, and it came out of the box with a reasonably sharp edge. And it's a little less heavy than some knives because it's got glass nylon scales, but it does have steel liners, and you can actually see the torsion bar in there. And it's a hefty friggin' torsion. Look at the torsion bar on that, man. That's a hefty torsion bar. I was kind of impressed by that. And the thumb studs act as blade stops, so they act as double duty there. Now to unlock it, I don't know if I'll be able to get that on camera. I'll try. Click, and then you can then all the way down, and the blade does not begin to engage the torsion bar till you get to here, which is good, because that means I can grab very easily, go like this and pull it down, because it is an aggressive, resistant torsion bar, as you can literally see, it's pretty good size. Now the downside to this design is that you have to impart a good deal of energy to overcome the torsion bar, which is in the closed position, because it's acting as a hold-in. It's closing it in place. So it takes quite a bit of oomph to get that out. I don't particularly like that. It is accessible from either side. Cutouts are even on both sides, and so that's a good thing. This is nice and smooth, so if you don't like jimping, this blade has got your back. I like the cutouts. I like the clip is a decent design. It's nothing to write home about, but it's a decent design. I kind of find it interesting. They made the tail quite lengthy. The lock can actually be engaged when it's open, and now the blade cannot be closed. So you can actually have this turned into a semi-fixed blade knife. It's not as good as a fixed blade knife, but it's closer to a fixed blade knife than your conventional knife that is just being held with a button lock or a liner lock or a frame lock. So if that's your thing and you like the security involved in that, this could be a selling point for you. It's not a selling point for me. I'm always of the opinion that if your knife needs a lock, there's a design flaw. but that's just me. And I don't understand why it needs to lock, because it really does take quite a bit of energy to overcome this torsion bar. And you see how easy it closes when you disengage it. So until you get to the torsion portion, it closes smooth as silk. So that's nice. It almost falls closed completely. So I actually think that this blade would be superior if it didn't have a torsion bar, because the thumb stud is in a position that's very comfortable. Because of this nice slope here, it's very ergonomic, it's very smooth, it's very comfortable. My thumb just right in there. It's very firm, and it's a nice connection. But it takes a lot of energy to overcome. So I'm actually contemplating taking this thing apart and taking the torsion bar out and see what happens. And if I do that, you'll get a follow-up video to see how the difference, how it performs. Because like the Kershaw Injection 3.5, which I love so much, I don't think you need an assisted open. If you have a good blade with some decent bearings, even if they're quality plastic, though I prefer bronze or ball bearing, I don't think you need assisted opening. If you have a good thumb to stud design or a good flipper, I think you're set. Now, because this is very reminiscent of the Skeen Do, it also reminiscent of the fact that this is not going to provide you a lot of protection from sliding up on the blade. There's nothing really preventing that from happening, so you have to be careful. So I would put this into the medium duty job task, and you don't want to be making a lot of thrusts in this. So I'm not suggesting any combat use for this knife, but it is attractive, and it's lighter than an all metal knife. It has a I don't know what to say. I want to say a nice proportion and size. If you have larger hands, and I don't, but if you have larger hands, I think this would be very, very comfortable. It's almost slightly too thick and wide for my hand, but it still works because of the overall shape. So yeah, I think this is a solid design as far as aesthetics and shape. I don't think any knife needs a lock. I like the thumb lock, the button lock. Here we go. I think the torsion bar is a little too stiff when it comes to the launch, and I think that this particular knife would actually be better served by a retention ball bearing and just letting it fly with your thumb without any torsion bar. So again, I may change that in the future just to see how it goes. And this is not a knife I'll be carrying on every day anyway, so I approve of the experiment. You know, I'll bill myself. If I damage the knife, I damage the knife. And I got this with a gift card, and it was reasonably priced, so it cost me nothing, but it was reasonably priced at Walmart. And oh yeah, the thumb studs, they're below the scales. Awesome, Gerber. That's the way you should be doing it. Your thumb studs should never be above the scales, and because of that shape, it gets in there, your nail gets under there. It's a nice positive lock. So yes, good thumb studs, nice design. This thing has a lot going for it, even if that does have a few minor foibles, and I think it would have been better served by just making it a thumb stud knife without a torsion bar. So again, I may try that in the future. So this has been the Gerber Skyridge. I still don't get the ridge part, but it's a nice design, and people who like Gerbers and people who like kind of like that Scottish Skeen Do shape should really enjoy this blade.